deal about method overloading in Java, how we are going to overload a method. So as you know, Java is an object-oriented language. You will be having a class. Inside the class, you can create a constructor and you can create the methods also. But you want to overload some methods. So how we are going to do this method overloading? It's one of a unique feature that is there in this Java. So method overloading, how we will differ the method overloading with the same method name. So the parameters might be different, the data types might be different, or the sequence of the data types also might differ. So this method overloading is also sometimes called as static polymorphism. So the static binding happens during the compile time. Okay. So when we are doing this method overloading, it's an example of static binding. It will happen during the compile time. So we'll start with a small program and then we will move on with other things. So method overloading. So here I have a class, okay, and I have a method called as test. Here I didn't use any constructors. I'm just using only the methods alone. Constructor overloading is the next topic. So in method overloading, we are using only the methods. Here you can see a method with a name as test. And this test, it's with the same name, you have different method definitions we have. So first method you have without any parameters, and it is also not returning anything. And the second method with of test is as having one parameter, but it is also not having any return type. And the third method is also with the same name as test, but you have two parameters with the same data type as integer, and it is also not having any return type. The fourth method, you can see we have the same method name as test. The parameter we have, that is double with the data type double, and it is of one parameter, and the return type is also double. Okay. So what you are performing inside this each and every method, the first method, we are not performing anything, just printing no parameter. Second method, we are trying to print that A. Third parameter, we are trying to print this A and B. But in the fourth parameter, we are multiplying this A into A, and we are returning the double. So this is how it works. So we have to define the main class. So we are defining the main class as overload. And as always, we have to put public static void main. We have to create an object for the class that we have done this method overloading. So I'm creating an object as OB. So now here comes the part. So first we are calling, so let me take a pen. Okay, so this is going to be your object. So here is the first method. So this first method, what it is doing is, it is not sending any parameters. We are just calling the method as it is. Okay. The second one, you can see, we are just sending only one parameter. The third one, we are sending two parameters and both are of integer types. You can see the first one, we doesn't have any value. Second one, we have one value. Third one, we have two values. The fourth one, we are sending a double value. And what is that function is going to do? It is going to multiply the double and it is going to return that double value. So that has been captured in the result. So this is how it has been done. I'm just trying to print the result. So the first one, the answer will be no parameters. The second one, the answer will be 10. The third one, the answer will be 10 and 20. The fourth parameter, this multiply 123.25 will be multiplied with that, and that result value will be available in result. So that will be shown here. So this is how the method overloading works. So we will move on to the second type that is called as constructor overloading. So what you have learned in method overloading, we have the same name. We can have different parameters. We can have different data types. That is how we have learned it in method overloading. But what will be the difference between this method overloading and constructor overloading? So it is going to have the same name as the class, right? The constructor, all the constructors is going to have the same name as the class. You can have different types of parameters and you can have different types of data types also, but you won't have any written type. So in method overloading, we can have a written type also, but in the case of the constructor overloading, we don't have any written type. So here is a small example. We will also see how it works in Colab. So here we have a class called as box and I have a width, height and depth, three variables. And the constructor I'm passing it. So the first constructor, what I'm doing is whatever value I'm passing that has been assigned for this width, height and depth. But in the case of this one, this is a constructor without any parameters. It is assigning itself as -1, -1, -1 for width, height, and depth. Okay, automatically it is taking some value. Even if you want to give some random values like 5, 10, any values you want to give, you can give it. And the second one, the third constructor, I'm just sending only one parameter. That value has been assigned for all the three, width, depth, and height. Okay. And you have a method just to multiply everything and to display the results. So now we are moving on to the main class, that is overload constructor we have created. So we are creating for each and every constructor, we are creating a different object. So this one is for the three parameter values that you want to assign. This will call that -1 value you have assigned, right? This one is for the all the three, the depth, width, and height, all will have the same values, that will be depth. Then again, you're calling the method volume. So when you call it, it will return a value and you can display this value. So this is how the constructor overloading we are going to do. So we are just calling the volume. Okay, we're just printing. So for the first object, for the second object, and for the third object. Okay, so we have created a temporary variable double here, volume, so that in that we will get all the values and we can print it in the result. So we will just see how it will be working in the collab. So So this is the one I have already shown you and explained in the PPT. So this is the constructor. This is the method overloading. So with the different names, can you with the same name? Sorry, test, test, and test. This is doesn't have any parameter. This has one parameter. This has two parameters, and this one has one parameter but with a different data type. Okay, so we are just going to run this program. Actually, we have to save this program, right? So first now we are saving it in the file. So it has been saved and we are just compiling the program. And we are running the program. Can you see the outputs? It's crystal clear. So we have called the first method with no parameters, second one with a one integer parameter, third one with two integer parameter, fourth one with a one double parameter. But what is the result of that method? It is just the multiplication of both. Okay, so this is about method overloading. So we will also see how constructor overloading works. So constructor overloading, as I have explained already, we have three parameters. Um, Let me check. Okay, so we have three parameters here. You can see, and this constructor is having a default value. I'm just keeping it as 10, 10, 10. Earlier in the PPT, I was explaining it with a -1 value. Here, I'm assigning the value WHND. And this one, I didn't tell you when I was explaining in the PPT. So that one is nothing but we call this constructor, we call this as a copy constructor. What does copy constructor means? Uh, we will send the object, class object inside this constructor. So that also is a possibility one. And this object can be used to assign some value. So I am sending an object one here, that width, that height, and that depth has been assigned. So this is copy constructor. So then we have this volume that we have already seen. So we will just run first, save this program. Okay. And we have to compile this program. So we are just compiling this program. Okay, it has been compiled. And then we will run this program. And you can see the first one, it has been called, second one, but I didn't tell you how it has been defined in the case of the object. So that alone we will have a quick look. So this one, it is calling the default constructor. This one I'm assigning, can you see? I'm assigning a width, height, and a depth. And then I'm trying to call this one. So that also is possible. If you want to call it, you can just call it. That value will be assigned. And this one, I'm trying to send this value, but I'm creating a different object. Can you see? I'm sending this B1 value, which I have assigned with a value, and I'm trying to send that one. So it is finding out the volume and it is printing. So this is the beauty of this copy constructor. So as you have seen, so you can see the default constructor value has been replaced with whatever value we have assigned. So that is why this result and this result is a little bit same. Okay, we will see another example whether it is also, it's a very simple one. It's having inheritance. So we didn't go inside the part of inheritance as of now. So we will see this example along with the inheritance. So as I have already said, you can pass an object in the copy constructor. Same goes to methods also. You can pass an object in the method also. So the same thing I have tried out here. But here we are talking about this inside a method, how I'm going to send a object. We are not talking about this method overloading with an object. Here it is a different scenario. This is a normal program. This is having a constructor and it's having an equal method. In that, I'm just passing an object as a parameter. So in copy constructor also, we have passed object as a parameter. So here I'm just checking whether these two values are equal. If it is true, I will just return true, and if it is false, it will return false. So I'm just assigning two values here, two values here, and two values here. And now I'm checking how I will be calling is I will be calling with one object and I will pass the other object. Okay, I will call with one object and I will pass with other object. I want to tell you in the copy constructor when we were doing, if you have seen it very carefully or not, I don't know. We will just show the copy constructor. How it has been calling, you have to see it again. Okay. So here, so we have assigned in B1 some value B2, some value B3. But can you see how I'm creating? While creating the object for the class box itself, I'm assigning this value. That is totally different from how it has been called in the case of this one. Can you see? This first object, when it's calling dot equals, I'm calling it. But in the case of copy constructor, while defining itself, I was passing this value. So that is based upon the program, it will differ according to your requirements. So, and if you want to return the object, so now we have passed the object, you want to return the object also, that is also possible. So here you can see the return type will be an object, right? So it's a class object. So same thing only we are doing, but we are calling with the help of this object too. We are just calling something, but what is the return value? The return value is an object. So you can see here, the return value is an object. So that is what we are trying to print. So thank you so much for listening. So we have covered method overloading, constructor overloading. In constructor overloading, we have seen copy constructor also. And along with that, in copy constructor, we learned something new called as an object as a parameter. So the same goes to a normal method. How will you pass a object and how will you return an object? Thank you so much.